Today we'll continue the Mayim Rabim, that the Rebbe said on Batzi Shabbos Parshas Noach Tafshin Lamed Ches. 40 years ago was the second Batzi Shabbos, a little more than a week after Shmini Atzeres of that year. The Rebbe speaks about in the Mayim how Mayim Rabim, the abundance of water, which means that even when a person has many worries and many preoccupied with his parnasa, with his livelihood, in a manner that shows that he doesn't properly understand and realize that everything comes from Hashem, which causes him not only to be involved in his livelihood, but to actually be involved with it in a way that his mind is in it. That means that he doesn't properly understand that one shouldn't, it's only a garment that helps him in order that it should be that it causes Hashem's blessings to come in all that you do, which is the reason why a person has to do it. But when a person doesn't realize that, and he does get involved and puts his mind into it, nevertheless that, and the Nahares and the rivers, which is when these thoughts go around in a raging way like raging waters, they're not able to extinguish the hidden love that a Jew has to Hashem. And the Rebbe went on to explain why would I think that the Mayim Rabim are able to extinguish. What's the Chiddush? Why are we saying that it's such a big deal that they're not able to extinguish it? The Rebbe explained that the Mayim Rabim, they're called Rabim, which means multitudes, many, because they come from the world of Tayu, the world of chaos, where there's Oyros Merubim, where there's a lot of light, and Kalim Mu'atim and very few vessels, whereas the Neshama, its source is from the spiritual world, which is the world of Tikkun, which is Eiros Mu'atim, which is Kalim Merubim, an abundance of vessels and a smaller amount of lights. Now what does this mean? So let's look a little bit deeper into the concept of the world of Tayu and the world of Tikkun. When Hashem created the world, the whole purpose of creation, as we know, is to make a dira batachtoinim, that Hashem wanted there to be an existence that's seemingly something that's separate, that's distant from the truth of godliness. And in this existence, a person should reveal its true existence, which is the reality of godliness that it's really all about and it really comes from Hashem. Now, in order to make that, there has to be a reality which in truth is created by Hashem, but which to the eye of a person seems like it's distant, seems like it's an existence on its own. And it was for this that Hashem created what's called the world of Tayu and the world of Tikkun. We all know the story that originally, when Hashem created the world, there was Oyros Merubim and Kalim Mu'atim. There was too much energy and there wasn't enough vessels, containers to contain that energy. And that caused the Shviras HaKelim, what we call the breaking of the vessels. And those vessels then became the source and the sparks that came from them, the Reish Pei Ches, the 288 sparks, they're spread out throughout the physical world. They're the source of the physical world. But what does this all mean? What does it mean? There was an abundance, a lot of vessels, and not enough, a lot of energy, not enough containers, etc. So first of all, to understand the concept can be understood similar to, for example, if one will look at a waterfall, where there's gallons and gallons of water that go over the waterfall, and yet the flow of water is so powerful that not even a drop is able to go behind the waterfall. Because when it's so powerful, it doesn't go to another place. Like for example, also if you try to pour from a big barrel and you try and pour it into a small cup, nothing will go into the small cup. It's too intense. Same idea would be in our world with electricity. You plug in a plug into a power source, which is too powerful. It's too much voltage for the plug that you plugged in. It just causes that the electricity doesn't go in, and on the contrary, it causes it sort of to pop. Or like the idea in wisdom, if a person is coming and trying to explain to someone who doesn't have the vessels, the mind for it, and he tries to explain in deep ideas, the ideas don't come in. On the contrary, it causes the person to lose his mind. The same idea is when we talk about the energy, the intense energy of godliness, and the kelim mu'atim, that there weren't a lot of containers in order to be able to contain that energy, meaning that Hashem brought into the world a very intense revelation of godliness. And that intense revelation isn't able to be accepted and received in the world, and this is what causes shviras hakelim. What does it mean it causes shviras hakelim? Such an intense level of godly energy, and it's not able to be accepted, it's not able to be received in the vessel. So what's left? The vessels remain broken vessels. What's a broken vessel? A broken vessel is a vessel that's not able to contain the high and intense manner of energy that there is, because it's too high for it. It's too great, it's too powerful. That becomes, in turn, the source and the root of the physical world, which that in fact is what the physical world is all about. The physical world is an existence that is not able to recognize its source and its godly energy, because the godly energy is too high and too powerful for it. Person's mission in this world is to reveal and enable in the physical existence to reveal its true source, that its source is godliness, and in that way he's freeing the spark which is actually sustaining it, which is so much higher and so much more powerful than the spiritual energy which is in the spiritual world. Because in the spiritual world is what we call the world of tikkun, where the energy is received, but that means it's a much lesser level of godly energy, and that's why it's able to be revealed in its vessel that reveals it. That's called spiritual. That's a spiritual idea of the soul, and such also in the body, in the soul, in the physical and the spiritual. The idea of the physical, the more something is felt as a contradiction, as something which is against godliness, means that its light, its energy, its source is much higher. This is why we call it Mayim Rabim. Mayim Rabim comes from the intense kelim oires merubim, the intense light and energy of godliness. If that's the source and the root of the Mayim Rabim, of the intense world, which is why it comes with such an intensity. That's why the daigas of parnasa, the worries of livelihood, etc., come with such an intensity, because that's where they come from, that's where their source is. Whereas the soul that feels the godly and the spiritual is on a much lower level of spirituality, a much lower level of godly energy. Hence, it makes sense that these great abundant waters, because they're from such a high and powerful place, that they should be able to extinguish the love that a Jew feels for Hashem, which comes only from the spiritual energy, the spiritual place. That's why we say that there's a chiddush. We're saying something great and novel, that these Mayim Rabim, despite the fact that they're Rabim, and despite the fact that their root is such a high level and a high place, and yet they're not able to extinguish the love that a Jew feels for Hashem. Why actually are they not able to extinguish this love? So this is why we say earlier also in Shir Hashirim, Rishofer, Rishpei Eitz Shalheves Yudke. The flames of the love, of the hidden love that a Jew has for Hashem, are the flames of Shalheves Yudke. The Shalheves, the flame of Yudke. What's Yudke? Yudke is the name of Hashem, but that's where the hidden love is, which means the revelation of the highest level of love, that's like a gacheles, it's like a coal, which has that hidden, the hidden flame inside it, and that its root is from a much higher place actually even than the Mayim Rabim. Where is the root of this hidden love that a Jew has for Hashem? It's not just a spiritual energy, but it's rather from a place where it's totally connected to the essence of godliness, which is why it's called a tzura chalamish, it's called a flintstone, which is the source, the root of the hidden love. So it's true that the revealed love that a Jew feels for Hashem, that comes from the world of tikkun, which means that's where the energy, it's a lower level of godly energy, which is why it's revealed. But the hidden love is from the essence of the soul, which the essence of the soul is from its very source, where it's totally tied and one with the essence of Hashem, and therefore that's the reality of the soul. That's even higher than the world of Toyu, which is only a revelation, whereas this is the very essence, this is the essence of a Jew, which is connected to the essence of Hashem. And that's what we call the Mayim Rabim. Lo yuchlu l'chabes eso'ava. That's why the abundant waters are not able to extinguish this love. What do we mean when we say this? So the Rebbe is going to continue now to explain what it's all about. The Rebbe says, why actually can the great waters and the abundance of waters not extinguish the love of a Jew for Hashem? Because it comes from a hidden place. The hidden love that's there is the essence of the Jew. What's the essence of a Jew? Its purpose of coming down into this world. The purpose of a person coming into this world that's his very essence. That's something which is above a feeling, a spiritual energy, a spiritual excitement. That's the ultimate purpose of why the neshama came down into this world, in order to fulfill the will of Hashem. That is the very essence of Hashem, and that's the essence of what a Jew is all about. And therefore there's nothing that's higher than that, there's nothing that's beyond that, there's nothing that's able to extinguish it. Moreover, the Rebbe says, if we look at it in an even deeper way, it's not just that the hidden love is higher than that Mayim Rabim, than the abundant waters, but even more than that, the whole purpose of the creation of the Mayim Rabim, since we're looking at the purpose of what it's all about, the purpose of the Mayim Rabim is actually only there in order to strengthen the love of a Jew for Hashem. And once again, the idea that when it comes to this spiritual feeling and energy, how a person feels this connection, that may be not. That might be that it's something that if you have too much abundant waters, it could extinguish it, because the waters come from a higher level. But when it comes to the essence and the purpose of it all, which is the essence of how it's one with Hashem, that's the hidden love that a Jew has to Hashem, the tzur, the flintstone, the source of the neshama. That's something that the Mayim Rabim are only there in order to strengthen that. That's their whole purpose, that's their whole goal. So of course they can't extinguish the love, because they're only there in order to make the love stronger. That's their real existence. So by a Jew revealing within himself his real existence. So in a sense, what we're giving a Jew a lesson of, how can I go out into the world where I have to be involved with all these multitudes of hardships of the physical world and of making a livelihood, etc., and still retain my love for Hashem. So Rebbe says, well, when the love for Hashem is a hidden love, it's not just my feeling of love, but rather it's a hidden love, which is, this is my purpose. This is my essence. This is my identity. This is who I am. Then I'm revealing that this is actually who the parnasa itself, the livelihood itself, and the involvement in the physical world itself is all there only in order to help that. Only in order to strengthen that. So it's not possible that it should extinguish it. And that's why the Rebbe explains that the ultimate thing that a person reaches as a result of him coming into this world, of coming down into the physical world, is that it comes and it reaches the concept of tshuva. Before the neshama came down into this world, it was like a tzaddik. A tzaddik means it feels it as a neshama, as a soul, is something which feels its entire existence is, I want to be close to Hashem. My completeness and my fulfillment is by doing what Hashem wants. Whereas when it comes down into this world, it comes down into a physical world. It comes down into a place where it's distant, so to speak, from Hashem. Where it's far away from its reality. And that causes it tshuva, to have a feeling of wanting to return to Hashem despite where I went, despite the distance that has been caused. And the reason for that is because this is my essence, this is who I really am. And that's why we say that Makom Shebali Tshuva Ayim the main tzaddikim burim yichaylim lamed bay. A place where Bali Tshuva stands. Even complete tzaddikim are not able to stand there. Not only they don't stand there, they're not even able to stand there. They don't have the ability to be there. Because a Bal Tshuva is someone who's able to reveal his very essence. He reveals Haruach Tashuv El Alikim Asher Nisana, that the spirit returns. When it returns to Alikim Asher Nisana, to its source, that despite it being distant, it feels its essence of its source, and therefore in that level, that's the ultimate level that happens when a Jew comes down into this world and is involved with all the Mayim Rabim, with all the abundance of the preoccupation with the worldly matters.